Let's talk about Gilbert's Grade A Milk Pasteurized Action Box Car. This car was available between 1956 and 1957. It is kind of interesting. Ron, who is someone who lives close to New Haven and at this point and grew up with relatives working at the factory, has talked to me at different times about how this car actually represented one that really was in use and how A.C. Gilbert would treat his workers to fresh milk from his farm. And so that's kind of cool. It's a little backstory that I don't know if most people know about, but anyhow, I find that fascinating. This comes with an action button and a little gated receiving platform, if you will. When you power the car, a door opens, African American gentleman throws the milk out, or the canister of milk, and the milk is delivered. Now, these cars tend to be known for being a bit problematic. I know I can think of several videos where I've seen the S scale ones as well as the O scale ones with people hitting the trigger over and over and over, finally getting, every fourth or fifth time getting one of these canisters to come out. So I thought maybe we'd take a look at this action car, and I've got one here that's in pretty dirty shape. I don't even know if it works. It is in rough shape. Wow. Yeah, that's in really rough shape. I'm going to take it apart and we'll start cleaning it up and take a look at the inside. In here is a sloped section, and that sloped section is where you put the milk canisters. And then, as you saw, the gentleman throws them out as they come down the ramp. And what I'm not sure is, I think that they go in with the small end first, but on this car, it's a little bit hard to do that. It's like if you put them in kind of what I'll call head first, they tend to go like this and then slide down the ramp sideways. And so when you put the second one in, things just get bound up. So I want to take a look at that and see, what can be done. Hopefully some cleaning will help things slide a little more easily. But join me if you would today as we look at the number 973 Gilbert milk car. And let's see if we can get this old one here to function again. So, this is not an easy job. First of all, you've got pins in the corners, and if you've got a car that's rusty like this one was, I couldn't get those to come loose. Well, I couldn't get two of them to come loose. So I took my soldering iron, I heated it up to like 610 degrees, put it on the tip to heat those pins up, and it loosened one of them up. The second one, basically I pulled the head off, and I'm gonna have to drill it out. It's stuck in there. Okay, so that's one thing. The next thing is you'll see on the bottom, you've got those kind of oblong places with what look like little twist pieces. So you want to undo those. And basically what that does is that takes the ramp loose. And then you've got two screws. And on this particular example, I had to use WD-40 to get those loose because, again, they were rusted to the bottom. So that kind of got everything loose. And I see there's a light bulb in this. Didn't know there was a light bulb. So apparently the light bulb in this one's burned out. But the thing that I want to urge a little bit of caution is the back side of this door is connected to a solenoid back here. So really what you need to be able to do is actually probably remove at least one rail. I don't know if that would allow the door to twist and go at an angle and go through the opening so you can kind of separate everything. I'm hoping that will happen. I'm kind of debating if I use heat, if I use WD-40, if I use both. probably going to start with heat and see if I can get at least one of these door rails to come loose, and because I'd like to separate the shell from the mechanism. And actually what I'd really like to do is take all of these rails off and get the rust off of them, however I can do that, either tumbler or ultrasonic cleaning or just good old elbow grease, and then repaint and clean everything up. So this car is going to take quite a bit of work because like I said, everything is kind of a mess, and I don't know if you can tell, the plastic on it too is just filthy. So that's going to take a lot of cleaning too. But the good news is I've seen cars worse than this, and they do clean up. That just takes time and patience. So let me get back to work on this, and I will bring you back when I have something to update you on. So I was mistaken. The back side of the lever that comes out here, it's actually not stuck. I thought maybe there was some sort of way to attach, but it's just a pressure fit. So as soon as I removed one of the rails, bottom rail, I could put in an angle and pull everything out. So this is our mechanism here. It's a solenoid, no surprise there. And as the solenoid drives one way, our man comes out, and the action of the solenoid pulls the one door open, and then ultimately shoves this guy out, which then pushes the canister out. And as I mentioned before, this is the ramp. I'm not sure why it's got a dent on the end. I'm not sure how that happened, but it's before my time. So let's see here. In terms of, okay, so they don't fit this way, so they must need to be put in at around the corner, and just put in like that and then slide down. Okay, well, that was something I didn't know. Now what's interesting is, how are you supposed to do that? I mean, there's not much. I don't know how you're supposed to do that. Maybe you put them in that way. Maybe you put them in on their side and so they slide down, because there's not enough height to put them in this way, and that would be ideal. But you probably have to put them in like that, and then when they come down, what happened? Where's my... Of course, I got to get down to the guy throwing them out. There, it's coming. Doesn't want to slide all the way down. Okay, so I guess that's the deal. They go in kind of on their side. And I'm thinking probably cleaning the... Oh, yeah, that's really rough. So cleaning this up, but with what is the next question? Probably like a brass metal wheel on a Dremel or something like that, because you just want to knock whatever this rough stuff is off of here so things slide a little better. I don't know if it would then make sense to put some lubrication on there, which lubrication's awesome till it gets dirt in it, and then it makes it sticky. So maybe that's a terrible idea, but just kind of spitballing right now, thinking out loud. This guy here, I definitely see a point back here that'd be smart to have some grease probably, or some sort of lubrication. That looks like a friction point. And then when you've got something that's kind of rusty, the unfortunate thing is, what would be really nice is to take this entire thing apart and clean everything really well. The more I got into this, the more I realized I just needed to remove those two rivets at the back. And oftentimes I'll try to drill from quote-unquote bottom, but on this particular case, because of the stuff being in the way, I actually ground them off from the back, and then kind of pushed them through. But by doing this, you can see all this gunk that's on the back wall, if you will. Maybe you can't see it very well, but so this should be nice and polished. You can see a little bit where I started to polish it there. So now that I've got that out of the way, I can move our milk tosser out of the way like this, and I can polish this up, clean it up really good, because as discussed previously, using lubrication is kind of a double-edged sword. And by doing this, now I can get to the back side of this bar here, which has got some corrosion on it. There's no way I was going to get to that. And I can go ahead and clean that off as well. So, yeah, boy. There you have it. I mean, I was trying to keep this simple, but I don't see a way to be effective at getting it really good and cleaned up and getting all this tarnish and oxidation off, other than biting the bullet. So there you go. So I've got all the rails off. They actually came off pretty easy. I just grabbed the pins from the side. I was real careful because you could break these tops and bottoms of the door frames out if you're not careful. But these guys are, I mean, I guess they're not rusted through, so that's a good thing. But my goodness, they're going to take a lot of cleanup. I'm thinking about maybe a tumbler for a couple days. That's the problem with tumblers. They just take forever, at least the one I have. So by the time you get done running something for 3 or 4 days and you still got a lot of cleanup, you might as well just clean it up by hand, which is, I'm talking myself out of the tumbler. All right, there you go. Welcome back to our 973 Guilford milk car cleanup. Making some pretty significant progress. Today and yesterday I spent a lot of time, wow, cleaning, polishing, everything underneath the car and on the outside of the car was pretty rusty. Fortunately, the stuff inside wasn't terrible, so I just did a lot of cleaning and polishing, lots of rags, trying to get this guy cleaned up enough that everything will move freely. And so this guy just slides on here real nice. Now, I'm not going to use any lubrication. Talked about it, thought about it, not going to do it. Instead, I just cleaned everything really well, tried to get it back to as close to factory specs as I can. I just in this particular instance, I think lubrication is going to be problematic over time. I think cleaning is probably the better route to go. So this thing kind of kept spiraling further and further out of control. So this is the underside of the chassis. All the weird spots in the metal here were rust. And so, yeah, this took, yeah, there was no way I could get this even remotely close to cleaned up without removing the trucks. So that's what I did. And a lot of wire wheel attention here. But again, you can see without actually removing metal, I'm not going to get all those spots where the rust ate away the metal. More about that here in a second. Same with the door rails. A lot of work on these and to get the rust taken care of, and then more work to try and clean them up. So my plan at this point is to probably do paint on the door rails. I think I've got some etching primer somewhere, which etching primer has a little bit of acid in there, and that will hopefully get down into all the little imperfections that are now in the metal from the rust literally eating away the metal. And then I'll put, I think, then I'll put a coat of paint on top of that. At least I'm thinking that way. Same with the chassis here. The trucks, again, the sintered iron frames were not rusty, but the metal parts were just a rusted mess. In fact, the couplers, I had to take these all apart, change some parts on them just to get them to work again, because they were just all rusted inside and out. Even though they're mostly plastic, they were frozen up. So there you go. A lot of work getting the outside of the car cleaned up. It was nasty, rust staining, just the abuse of years, neglect of years. You know how that can really take a toll on cars and discolors them. There's goop and gunk and junk here and there. And so again, just soap and water, a lot of rubbing. Oh my word. Same with these doors. I'm happy with the progress. I've still got a steel wheel to replace here on the truck. This thing needs to be flattened out. As you can see, it's been twisted, something fierce. And you know, initially I was thinking I'll just put everything back to black as the original was. But now that I've stripped everything down, I'm having second thoughts, and I'm thinking, what if I didn't return it all back to black? What if I did something different? So I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on that and go from there. So just thought I'd give you all an update on the progress being made, and hopefully next time I turn this thing on, I'll have this thing back together and operational. Okay, so I've got some things back together here, and I thought I'd share with you a couple, I guess I'd call them modifications that I did. So because the frame was so terribly rusty, I thought, you know, I could go ahead and use bluing agent on it, but I wanted to try to prevent the rust from coming back. So I decided to paint it. So I painted it this gray. The same was true with the door rails. A couple of them are really, really rusted. And again, I got the rust off, but there's so much pitting. I was concerned that if I did blackening or bluing agent on it, that the rust would just come back. So anyhow, that's what I opted to do. And I'm sure there are going to be some of you out there that are not going to be pleased that I made that choice, because the original, after all, is black. And I could have painted it black. But part of me wanted to say, you know what, I just did a whole lot of things to this. I'm going to leave it a tiny bit different because it is not original. Why is it not original? Well, as I mentioned before, everything was taken apart. Everything was stripped down. I've got new rivets all the way around this thing. And I modified a couple things the following ways. Because I painted the bottom of the chassis, I was concerned that the electrical contact wouldn't be as good. So on this one, if we flip it upside down, this end we've got pickup wheels, and so there's actually a, you know, it looks like that on the inside. But on this end, there's no wire coming off of the rivet. The idea is that this pickup transfers the other side of the power cycle or electrical circuit into the frame just by, you know, rubbing on it. Well, since I painted this, I thought, you know what, I've just created a bit of an insulation. So what I did is I basically did this on this side. Now, because of the way this frame goes, it kind of pushes up a little bit on that frame, and in theory you'll get good contact, or I'll get good contact through that point. But just in case, I decided to run a wire, soldered wire on there up to here, and then also from there over here to the light bulb. It's a little bit of overkill, but I think it's the right thing to do for me, because it's just one of those things. Like, I know that Flyer's intentions were good when they did this kind of electrical pickup originally, but if you've got a New Haven passenger car, you know how those flicker. And so what I've done on New Haven passenger cars to stop the flicker is I've soldered a wire where they just did frame to chassis, or frame to ground through the rivet. It just, over time, it just doesn't hold up very well. And so that's what I did. And by doing one more wire to the light bulb, I'm not running the risk again of grounding issues, because I've got paint here where it used to be unpainted underneath. So took a little bit of extra, but that's what we've got. So let's check it out. I've got my polished up milk container on my polished up metal, put it in there, slides down there, and boom, onto the floor. So I think that's pretty awesome. I'm very happy with how slick and slippery this thing is working. And now I'm going to finish putting the car together, and then I'll bring it back for a little bit more, and then we'll do some rail testing. Here we are with our reconditioned Guilford milk car. There's the non-fixed one, if you will, original condition, and this is the one that I went through. And I'm having a little bit of trouble with my pickup shoe here. I shouldn't say shoe, it's the wiring to this section of hot pickup. So it's sometimes working, and right now it seems to be again. So we'll go ahead and slide one of these milk canisters down in there. We've got Fred, the milk canister judge. He's going to kind of judge how well these cars do for us. So here we go. This is the rebuilt one, and that looks pretty good. Okay, 1 for 1, best of 4. Well, off camera, suddenly it worked, and so it was 2 for 2, but I put that carton back in. Let's try it again. All right, 2 for 2. Number 3. Hey. 3 for 3. And final opportunity here. All right. Okay, so 4 for 4, technically 5 for 5, but let's put 2 of them in here now and see what it does. Yep, got stuck. That happens sometimes, and I haven't figured out why. All right, so 2 work. Let's try 3 in a row. Well, I guess that counts. Technically, they were ejected. Let's see what happens with 4. 3 was not super slick, so probably 4 is going to be, well, we'll find out. 1, uh-oh. I'm going to help close the door here. All right, let's try the original car here and see if it can do any better. Now, I have done nothing to this car, so it is completely unserviced, and that may or may not be a good thing. Let's try 1 for 1 here. Wow, that ramp has not been cleaned, so stuff's not sliding. Yeah, see that? There it comes. Wow. Yeah, so the fact that they're not even sliding down the ramp on this one because it's got so much oxidation, that's inhibiting their... Oh, here we go again. Oh, boy. All right. Let's see if we can get the second one to come out. Still hasn't slid down there yet. Well, I think I've seen enough. So it appears that the simple fact of removing the oxidation off the ramp inside makes a big difference, makes this a much more fun accessory car, just for that little bit of cleanup. So, should you have one of these, it's not working very well, and you don't have wiring issues like I do, it seems to be the trick, just to clean up the inside, and you certainly don't have to go to the extents that I did of tearing everything apart and painting and all that, especially if your cars are in better shape like that one there. 1, uh-oh. 2, 3. Oh. Yeah, we got there.